What is good, NIO family? It's Rey-Jay back with another video, and in this I'm going to be talking about the one and only NIO stock and what you should be looking after for the future. I'm also going to break down what's going on with the overall market, how this may affect NIO going forward, and also what's going on with Tesla and Apple and SPY and the QQQ and many other stocks out there. I'm going to talk about some very bullish things that Warren Buffett said for the market, and also what happened with Berkshire Hathaway's earnings, how it may affect the market as well. But before I break anything down about all of this information, before I give you guys my NIO stock price prediction, I do have to mention a couple of things before starting. Firstly, I'm not a financial planner. Make sure you take none of this as financial advice whatsoever. And also, if you guys can, please smash the like button if you want to see more videos like this. It not only benefits me, it benefits the entire NIO community as a whole. And the last thing is, if you guys can, please check out the Moomoo link down below and in the description. If you sign up for Moomoo, the link down below, and deposit $100 into the account, you're guaranteed up to 5 free stocks, each worth up to $2,000. And the best part is, any could be a free NIO share. The offer ends in just 7 days. Check it out before they run out. With that out of the way, let's get on with the video. So NIO was actually very overbought at one point. The RSI did cool off just a little bit near the end of the day, but overall it closed green as I predicted in my earlier videos. And now that NIO has this nice push up, right, that has continued excuse me, sorry guys, as the market continued to pump, the question is what's going to happen to NIO as well. Well, look at the MACD. We have a crossover right here, so there's a chance that NIO might try to cool off a little bit more and maybe retest the 200 EMA. We could get closer to $8 flat, but I do anticipate NIO is going to try to hold above $8, maybe try to get another push up as the market holds up quite nicely. However, I do believe NIO is nearing a topping process because we're getting very close to CPI, and this whole move could end up turning into a big bull trap if we get a hot CPI report, and many pieces of data are suggesting that. Now, I want to talk about something else that's important for the markets, and that's going to be earnings and also the data coming out. Tomorrow we have PayPal after the market closes alongside Lucid and Palantir. And then on Tuesday, we have Airbnb, Nikola, Rivian, and many others. And then we have Roblox, Walt Disney, Unity for Wednesday. And the rest of them are not as huge for Thursday and Friday. But get ready for Monday through Wednesday. We have some big earnings, especially Disney and PayPal are going to be two of the big ones. And then for the data, there's not a whole lot coming out. We have some inventory data for Monday. For Tuesday, we have another piece of data like crude oil data. Then for Wednesday, we have CPI coming out. So that's going to be massive for the stock market. If this is as expected or high, it could mean bad news for the bulls. Now, something else that came out was Berkshire Hathaway's earnings, and we could say they actually did very well again. Looking at the data, they saw their operating earnings increase 12% in the first quarter. Their cash did go up to about $130 billion. Warren Buffett did justify that during the shareholder meeting. And then on top of that, we saw more good earnings from their insurance underwriting to their other big earnings. We also saw a big increase in their profitability, and their cash hoard once again went up. And we saw their net earnings increase big time going forward. So some very good news. Warren Buffett also talked about he did knock down speculation that they would take full control over Occidental, but he mentioned that they won't actually do that. So that was actually not what some people expected, but it's okay. Now, on top of that, Warren Buffett also said that Apple is their best business from their portfolio. So it's a very bullish piece of news for the market, especially for Apple. Now, as far as NIO goes, I didn't really see anything big on the news or on their Twitter page. I was looking into it. I just couldn't really find anything that huge. So far, NIO did actually win a gold and silver award from many investors. And we are getting some good ratings from other investors. But other than that, I am seeing, once again, very similar news to what I mentioned on Friday. So there's nothing too new that came out. So I don't really need to talk too much about that. Volume, let me change this to NIO. Sorry about that. Volume for NIO was pretty decent the last time I checked it. I think it was very close to average, if not a little bit higher. And that's a pretty good sign. Seeing it, actually, it was a little lower, but still pretty good. 35 million is not bad. And then on top of that, the short volume is decreasing again. We're getting a bounce here on the price-price ratio, and NIO is starting to show some relative strength. So now let's break down some charts very briefly before I end this video. For NIO, I believe it's going to be dictated by the markets. There's no true sign of this thing breaking down because on the 4-hour time frame, still is bullish technically. Hasn't really broken down, but it is getting hit with some strong resistance. If we bring up our support and resistance lines, you will quite clearly see NIO has some resistance around this 8.25 zone and then also 8.54. I believe for tomorrow, the market is going to pull back a little bit in the morning. Maybe we gap down or something, and then we're going to see the market continue to push up, thanks to Warren Buffett saying some bullish things, him being bullish on Apple, and also other factors like that, because SPY still has the unfilled gaps above. So I think tomorrow NIO is going to follow the trend, cool off in the morning, maybe retest 7.9 to 8. Hopefully it doesn't drop lower than that. If it does, it could turn more bearish. But my prediction is it's going to drop just a little bit, but rebound and try pushing as the day goes on. I also believe that SPY and the QQQ and many other stocks will play a big role in dictating it. SPY is going to likely cool off to where its 50 EMA is, maybe retest like 412 flat, maybe get down to the 411s, then try to bounce off after that and just continue to push. And I believe that later into Monday, if not by Tuesday, we should see this thing around 415 before CPI. I still think it has more room to go. For the consumer discretionaries, Tesla is looking pretty strong right now. It needs to cool off its RSI a bit. It's currently almost at 70. Might cool off to like 168 to 166 and then try to bounce. And we might see Tesla just break past 170 and get closer to 174.5. Once again, being bullish. The dollar is not telling us much. It's pretty flat, so there's not a whole lot going on there. But the VIX is telling us, if you look at the VIX, this thing is down like 14%. Very soon, the VIX is going to bounce. There's just not a true indication of it just yet. Might make a small move to the upside, then just continue to drop. And as the VIX does this, you have to remember the market is going to dictate it. I don't think we fully filled the gap down here. There's a gap down here. It's a little hard to see. We haven't fully filled this gap. So I'm thinking that we might come down to fill this gap first before we fill the one above here. So the VIX might bounce a little bit, come down, come all the way down to the 15s again, maybe 16 flat, if not the 15s. And that's when the market's going to be in its topping process. If it forms a bullish divergence or something like that, even if it comes down here, then the VIX might bounce as we approach CPI, if not after CPI, fill the gaps above as the market gets a correction, right? So that's what I'm seeing. For Apple, same thing. It's going to likely cool off a bit in the very beginning of the day on Monday, then just try to rebound, push for 174 to 175 or so, but I think it's going to get stopped because of strong resistance. Won't push up as hard, and I do think there's a lot of risk to the upside investing in it at these levels. So I think Apple's going to try to hold these levels, consolidate, maybe push up a little bit more later on. Then by the time we get to CPI, we could get a big reversal based off what the data tells us, which I will talk about later on this channel. All right, guys, so that's basically my update. I want to thank you all for listening. Once again, for NIO, it's going to likely cool off a bit, try to bounce, trade a little sideways, but still try to push up by the end of the day. If not, if it doesn't happen by Monday, then by Tuesday, we should see NIO try to push it up, get closer to like 8.5 temporarily, then continue to close green. But by the time we get to, I mean, if we do pump for Monday, then for Tuesday we could cool off. And then by Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, we might see NIO start to downtrend if CPI is hot. That is still very possible. So this is looking to me like a bull trap is forming in the markets. Market pushes up more, CPI comes out, and we get a reversal. I think that's very likely. I'm not promising it, but that's what I believe is likely going to happen. All right, guys. So finally, I have some merch for you guys. If you want to buy the dip, buy low, sell high. If you want some shirts that say to the moon or a custom shirt by me, it's all available in the link down below. You could also buy hoodies and stickers. Thank you all so much for listening. I appreciate every single one of you. NIO to the moon as the long term is very bright. And peace out.